Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast is your one-stop shop for fantasy football news and advice. Can't decide on who to draft on the first round? Going gaga on how to line up your team. Got you covered. Traditional leagues, dynasty league, PPR league, IDP league, even daily fantasy football league. Join us as we break down all the questions of fantasy football. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast.
And welcome everybody to the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, as always, Mark Souza, and again, person I can't seem to get away from me. I can't seem to shake him.
What is that supposed to mean?
Can't shake him off.
Well,
Jeff
are we not friends?
We are co-hosts. Sorry, I keep things professional at the workplace.
Doesn't mean we can't be friends. You're married anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're
sure.
straight.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, hey, did you watch the Golden Globes?
No, I didn't.
You should have.
I was watching football.
They were after.
I was asleep.
They followed it.
I was playing video games then. I was probably playing Resident Evil. Because I pre-ordered Resident Evil 2. I'm so excited when it comes out.
I might take some heat for this, but I don't think Bohemian Rhapsody should have won Best Picture.
And now we lost all our viewership.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think everyone liked that movie.
Actually, not the best ratings. Not the best reviews for Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm not saying it was terrible, but A Star is Born, The Favorite, those are some really good movies that I think might have won. That should have won. Anyways, let's talk about daily fantasy, because I didn't have a good week in daily fantasy. Did you? How did you do?
Not well. No one did well.
I did not win.
Unless you picked Ezekiel Elliott, no one did well.
I picked him in almost all my daily fantasy teams, and I didn't win anything.
Well, who else did you... You needed to have Marlon Mack as well.
Yeah. That would have been a great option. A great two-headed monster.
The closest I got was... I had 113 points.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't have Mack in any of my teams. That's probably the reason why.
I had Elliott in one of my leagues. I had Deshaun Watson in one, 20 points. Elliott gave me 29. Everyone else gave me under 15.
What did Mack get?
I'll check the first place winner.
Go ahead and check.
Who won $50,000, mind you, in mine. He had Trubinsky. I had Watson. We both had Elliott. He had Miller from Houston, who had 16 points. He also had Allen Robinson, who had 33 points. He had Tyler Lockett, 19 points.
Allen Robinson had a great game.
He also had Cutie, 31 points.
He had a good game,
Marlon Mack had 26 points. And he had the Chargers defense with 14 points. The lowest points he got was from Zach Ertz with 10.
You know what? And what was his total score? What was his team score?
199.
That's
I had
really low.
113.
Usually when you win a big tournament in daily fantasy, your score is like 230,
he
240.
Won $50,000.
Usually you have to hit it to like 230, 240 in a daily fantasy score, or else you have no chance.
Second place won $25,000, and he had 197. And we had almost the same team, except for a few different. We had both Zeke and Deshaun.
Yeah.
He had Marlon Mack.
So, it was kind of a low-scoring game. In the NFL games were low-scoring, right?
Yeah.
I think every game hit the under. The Chargers-Ravens hit the under. There's only 40 points total in that game. The Bears-Eagles definitely hit the under. The total was 43 in that game. Final was 16-15. Maybe the Cowboys game hit the over, 24-22. That's the only one I think, because the Colts-Texans was the lowest scoring game. And I think that's where a lot of people got burned, Jeff, because a lot of people, like we talked about, I think a lot of people went with our theory that game was going to be the highest scoring game, the Colts and Texans. So I think most daily fantasy players loaded up on players from that game at a higher percentage than the other 3 games. Wouldn't you say?
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Hopkins, super popular. Hilton, super popular. Luck and Watson were the number 1 and number 2 most popular quarterbacks. Marlon Mack, even some people liked him. I wasn't one of them. I should have been one of them. Lamar Miller, again. Kiki QT. And then the Colts' other receivers, I think, were good options for cheap. In fact, Dontrell Inman had a good game. He scored a touchdown. I think he had 50 yards receiving or so. So he had a good game as a cheap wide receiver play. Who is your best standout performer from this week?
On my team?
Yeah. I mean just in general for daily fantasy.
Well, you already had Zeke, correct?
Yeah, I'd say Zeke was...
Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack.
Amazing.
QT was really good. Golden Tate with the touchdown really saved his day.
Allen Robinson had a great game himself.
Allen Robinson absolutely showed up.
Yeah, very impressive.
In a loss, unfortunately.
Yeah, if he was playing next week, I would say pick him up now.
I think we got to go over our teams, though.
All right, let's do this. Get this over with.
This is for 55 push-ups.
I have to do mine tomorrow if I lose, because I can't do it today.
Why is that?
I hurt my shoulder. I'm not even kidding. Want to listen to it?
No.
Hold on.
I don't hear anything.
You don't hear that?
No.
It's
I
cracking.
heard that.
Ow. But it's cracking pretty badly on my shoulder.
All right. Well, let's take a look. I had Andrew Luck, 18.8. You had Deshaun Watson, 20.
Yeah, I win.
I had Ezekiel Elliott,
Son of a gun.
29.9. You had Tariq Cohen, 5.7.
Not as bad as I thought he would get.
What?
As I was because watching him play, I was like, oh, he's gonna get like 2 points.
I had T.Y. Hilton, 13.5. You had DeAndre Hopkins, 8.7.
You can't blame me for picking Hopkins.
I had Eric Ebron, 11.6. You had Andrews at 6.1.
Mm-hmm.
And then the flex, Gordon, for me, 11.3. And you had Alshon Jeffrey, 14.2. So by a score of 85 to 54, ouch. You will owe them tomorrow, I assume.
will owe them tomorrow, yes.
55, you better not forget.
Or I'll owe them on Friday since we don't have a show. Or should we just tune into the football podcast?
Well, yeah, you could do it Friday.
Yeah, I'll do it Friday.
I guess you can. We can't forget though.
I won't forget. I promise I won't forget.
We won't. I won't let you forget because we'll have to pick our teams again, and then I'll remember if they haven't been done at that point. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously you thought as well as I did that the Colts-Texans was going to be a high-scoring game. Mm-hmm. You had Watson and Hopkins, and Watson did okay for you, but Hopkins had maybe his worst game of the season for daily fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
The Colts did really well to take him away. Now, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that DeAndre Hopkins didn't perform so well, does that make you a little worried about the Chiefs' offensive playmakers this week as the Colts head to Arrowhead to face off against the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs? Are you a little concerned about maybe a Tyreek Hill or maybe a Travis Kelce about picking them in daily fantasy? Because you know they're going to have high price tags. What do you think about that?
I have them both. I'm picking both of them.
I mean, you are?
Yeah, I am personally.
You're going to play both of them?
Yep.
Tyreek Hill's a little bit of a risk, no?
How so?
Well, we just saw DeAndre Hopkins, maybe the best wide receiver in the NFL, get shut down.
He was injured, though. He's coming off an injury.
Yeah, but he's not really hurt. I mean, it wasn't like he was held back. The Colts just did really well against him. They blanketed him. So, not concerned at all about the Chiefs playmakers, no? You expect Kelce to have a big game against the Colts defense? They have a really good linebacking unit.
Okay, now you're making me doubt everything. Thank God I didn't actually submit anything.
You just have to look at it and look at the matchup. Those guys are phenomenal players.
I know for sure I'm having Drew Brees as my quarterback.
Travis Kelce will be the highest priced tight end in daily fantasy this week, and he's a guy that usually performs very, very well. But I just wonder if
I
the
think it's
value
better
might
to go
not
with
be there.
Eric Ebron, honestly.
I would agree with that because the Chiefs have a terrible time defending tight ends.
Yes.
And Eric Ebron scored again. He seems to score almost every game for Andrew Luck. It feels that way. I know that's not true, but it feels like he's always a threat, right?
Mm-hmm. And I would go with the wide receivers for Philadelphia and Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the best fits.
Philadelphia against the Saints. Interesting. Might be tough.
They're 30th in opposing player rate.
I saw that all 4 games this weekend have much higher over-unders than this last weekend, which assumes that the games will be higher scoring this week. I think we can all agree with that, right? With the Rams and the Saints and the Chiefs playing for the first time, those are really heavily offensive-based teams.
I'm about to submit it, but my phone's at 1%, so give me a second before I charge it so I don't lose this.
Submit what?
My daily fantasy.
You're already setting a lineup?
Yeah, it's already set up. Why wouldn't I?
Because you got 5 days? Don't you want to, I don't know, think about it? Review it?
Well, the thing is, it also gives me time if someone gets injured or not playing, then I can subs it.
I mean, yeah, you can always edit it.
Yeah. So better do it now than later.
I guess you could say that.
Call me a genius.
I feel like if I did that, my lineup would be completely 100% changed by the end of the week if I said it in the first week or the first day.
Well, I like to have chain mix things up. You got a problem with that?
No.
Good.
I like the diversity of thought.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So.
What now?
I mean.
How are you?
No, we got to talk
kidding.
about these games just being so low scoring. Other than Elliott, Mack, QT, Robinson, Dontrell Inman, I guess Lamar Miller had a decent game. I guess Melvin Gordon had a subpar game. The no defense really had a big game.
The no defense?
I said no defense really had a
I
big...
thought you said the no I'm like, who is it? Like Dorland?
I played the Eagles defense in almost every league. They were fine. I mean, they got like 3 or 4 points. But
San Diego had the most with 14 last time I checked.
Yeah, that sounds about right. There were some turnovers in that game and a lot of sacks. They had 7 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
What about San Diego? That's a good conversation. San Diego's defense this week against Tom Brady. Is that a stay away, or do you like that play? Is that actually a sneaky play?
I think that's a sneaky play, honestly.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You like Tom Brady having a bad game, huh? At home in the playoffs? That's a risky proposition.
It's not him I'm worried about. It's people around him that I'm worried about.
Do you think the Chargers will be able to get a lot of sacks on Tom Brady, like more than 3?
I'll go with 3. I'll comfortably say 3.
Do you think they'll intercept a pass or 2?
Yeah.
Let's not forget that Chargers defense.
No, I'll say at least 1.
That Chargers defense who played 6 or 7 DBs in the box for the entire game against the Ravens, I think that their game plan is going to be drastically different. You know what else I think? I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots run the ball like 35 times in this game. Just pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball. Move the chains with the passes, but really establish a run.
Yeah,
Just
I
pound
can
the
see that.
rock. Sony Michel, 20, 25 carries. Burkhead, 5 carries. James White, 5 or 6 carries. I could see something like that. I could see a lot of rushing attempts.
Yeah, and it's going to be a bruiser. It's going to be a bruiser.
Tell me which game this weekend do you think will be the highest scoring game? Colts Chiefs?
Colts Chief. I think that's it's their offenses that are superior in these ways, especially on the Kansas City side. That's how they got there. But again, losing Kareem Hunt is a huge problem, and they're going to be passing the ball a lot more. They're going to be running the ball, and that might be a difference maker in this, one way or another. It might be good for the Kansas City Chiefs, or they will make mistakes and throw interceptions that will be to the other team, which is the Colts.
Do you think that the Chiefs' offense will be overplayed in daily fantasy this week?
That's to be determined.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think we gotta go more into the week to decide that one. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough call though, but I can see it happening.
I wonder, what about the Cowboys-Rams? Is that a game that can have a lot of points?
Maybe on one side.
Which side would that be?
Either side. Honestly, it depends on which running back goes off the most.
Gurley.
It's Gurley versus Elliott.
Gurley might be the running back, Gurley or Elliott, but one of two, maybe both of them, will be the two highest priced running backs in daily fantasy this week, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which one do you think is the better play? Gurley or Elliott to have a bigger game?
Gurley or Elliott? I got to go with Gurley. No, you know what? No, give me Elliott.
It'll be
but
interesting.
they're both those front sevens are really good.
Yes.
That's where I'm lost. Usually it's an easy choice, but both these the
Rams could get beat on the run though. They're very good pass rushing, but their defensive players, especially their line, they can struggle a little bit against the run.
Yes, they can. But yeah, I have to go with Elliott on this one though. I got to keep it with Elliott.
You got to keep it with Elliott?
Yeah, I mean, the game he had last week or this previous week can only atone to momentum.
What do you think about the passing games? Do you think the Cowboys we know defensively can get beat through the air? Seattle didn't exploit that enough. But do you think the Rams will exploit that weakness and a guy like Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods will have big games?
I think it's extremely possible. If McVay's a very smart guy.
We saw Tyler Lockett get loose, and Brandon Cooks has a similar skill set where he's smaller, faster, quicker.
But there is a lot of weapons on the Rams team.
They really do miss Cooper Kupp, though, I think. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
What about Goff?
It's brutal.
Goff has been struggling, especially in daily fantasy for the last month or so. Is he a rebound candidate, or do you think with that Cowboys pass rush? Because Cowboys can rush the passer. We saw Goff really struggle against the Bears, the Eagles. When he was being pressured, he really struggled, committed turnovers, was sacked. Are we going to see the Cowboys frustrate Jared Goff and maybe him have a poor performance in daily fantasy this week?
It's always like the real good talented players rebound when it matters the most, and this will make or break Jared Goff.
He had a really bad playoff game last year. Does that concern you if you're picking quarterbacks?
It 100% does. But does it concern you that this is Mahomes' first playoff game?
Yeah, absolutely. First playoff game. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, Trubisky had a decent first playoff game in terms of daily fantasy. Did he lead the quarterback position? He was 1 or 2. I know that.
He was up there, yeah.
That was Watson's first playoff game too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was Lamar Jackson.
There's a lot of first-timers. I think the only one that wasn't first-time.
Well, Dak played before.
Dak, Andrew Luck, and Philip Rivers.
Yeah,
those were the only 3. Out of the...
or in Foles. And Foles.
Oh, Foles, too. So, yeah. Trubisky... Jackson.
Definitely Jackson.
And Watson.
Deshaun Watson. There's another one. Who is the 4th? Oh, Russell Wilson. So 5 had experience and 3 were rookies.
Which is a lot.
But the rookies are good. In comparison. Mm-hmm. In comparison.
For multiple first-time quarterbacks, that's a lot. 3
is a lot. Rookie playoff quarterbacks, yeah.
And then we're having another one in Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, yes, we will.
And that's about it.
But you're less worried about Mahomes than Goff, right?
Yes. But
Mahomes can just do it too many ways. Like he can run,
but this is a serious test for him. People are like, "Oh, he's got 50 touchdown passes," but that doesn't mean a thing when it's playoff time.
So, right now,
mm-hmm.
You remember how close the spreads were for the 4 games this weekend? For a lot of the road teams were only underdogs by like a point or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much this time.
Really now?
The lines are out. Chiefs are -5.5. The Rams are favored by a touchdown over the Cowboys. The Patriots are favored by 4 points over the Chargers. And the Saints are 8-point favorites over the Eagles.
Okay. Wow.
It makes it interesting. Do you think Dak against the Rams is a good play?
I don't know. That's hard. That's a hard one. Ezekiel Elliott's one thing, but that's another one. I would just if I had to pick between Zeke and Dak, have a better game, I'm going Zeke all the way. And so I'm leaving Dak out of my lineup.
All right. Now, because I was kind of going through the Saturday games first, Colts Chiefs. We talked about it a little bit. Andrew Luck or Patrick Mahomes, who has a better game?
I'm going to say Andrew Luck.
I think it's definitely a conversation. Because
the Kansas City secondary is pretty poor.
It's bad. Really bad.
That's why I'm saying it might be
And the Colts offensive line, when they're great, and when they block for Luck, who doesn't want to have Andrew Luck with all the time in the world to throw? He's going to dice you up. It doesn't matter if you're a good defense or not.
If T.Y. Hill breaks out, it's going to be ugly.
All right, so what about Goff or Dak? Which quarterback does better?
Goff. Because of that secondary. I got to look at the defensive
Marlon
side.
Mack or... We don't know if Spencer Ware or Damian Williams, so I guess Marlon Mack would be the better play there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if Spencer Ware is healthy that it's a 50-50 with him and Williams, or do you think that... Williams has done really well in his playing time. Do you think Ware has done enough to get the majority of the snaps, or do you think it's pretty 50-50 at this point?
It's going to be 50-50. It's going to be whoever has a breakout performance early.
They kind of like to ride the hot hand, right?
Yeah. It's going to be whoever has momentum going into the second half will get more of the snaps later on.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see Amari Cooper having a breakout game against the Rams secondary?
I mean, it's possible.
He had a decent game.
But I'm not going to say breakout. I'll say he has a solid performance.
What about T.Y. Hilton against the Chiefs? Is that a must-play?
That is a must-play.
Which wide receiver do you prefer between Woods and Cooks this week for the Rams? Robert Woods or Brandon Cooks?
Give me Robert Woods. I've seen a lot more from him than I have Cooks.
This is one of those games where you could play both. This is a daily fantasy week where you could play both receivers.
Well, sometimes maybe you won't even have a choice in the matter.
Because they both won't be in the top 3 or 4 wide receivers. I don't think. I think we'll see. They could, but I think we'll see Michael Thomas more expensive. I think we'll see Keenan Allen, maybe Alshon Jeffrey. Who knows? I guess we could already look, but what about defense? Which defense of the Saturday games do you like? Colts, Chiefs, Cowboys, Rams. Which defense do you think has the best chance to have a big game? Got to say Rams, right?
I think there's no one really else, is there? There's really not any others that stand out to me.
Yeah. Anyways, we need to take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk about some duds from this weekend. We'll also talk about the Sunday matchups, the Chargers, Patriots, Eagles, Saints when we return. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about audiobooks. Audiobooks inspire us, motivate us, and bring us closer, and there's no better place to listen than with Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet. And now Audible members get more than ever before. Each month you get 3 titles of your choice, 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and fitness programs that you can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. Try it for 30 days free by visiting audible.com/GSMC book. Or get out your phone and text the word GSMC book to 500-500 to get that 30-day free trial started today.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington Target Syrup.
And welcome back to the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Again, if you haven't checked out our other podcasts, please do so. We do a sports podcast, a football that's, different than fantasy football, of course. Basketball, soccer, baseball as well. Please
and
check those out.
luge.
No, we don't. We
No,
do
we
not.
don't. We
We
don't
do
do
not do curling yet.
Yet.
So,
Till it hits the big time.
I heard that was on the agenda.
Was it really?
No.
Oh.
Did you see the the former NFL players that started a curling team? Jared Allen, Mark Bolger,
Jared Allen of all people.
Keith Bullock from the Titans, and another
These
player.
are big dudes.
Yeah, a couple linemen.
Huh.
Trying to remember who the fourth one was, but it's a team
They
of four.
received $2 to $5 million contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding. But move on.
So let's talk about some duds. Jordan Howard. I had him on a couple daily fantasy teams.
Jordan Howard.
He was such a
the
low
Jordan.
cost, and I thought, oh, he has a good chance of scoring a touchdown. Maybe he'll get 50, 60 yards and a touchdown. He did not. But what about Cohen? Tariq Cohen also did not have a good game. I know you liked him. You picked him on your team.
I did.
Were you pretty disappointed with how the Bears' offense was?
I was upset. I was sad. I was emotional. I was livid. What's another good word for disappointed and upset and angry and wanting to throw something through my TV? Because I knew I had him against you, and that's why I lost.
You also had DeAndre Hopkins, who had a bad game.
He barely
Just a
played.
tough day all the way around.
Yeah.
He had the targets. He just wasn't working.
He just wasn't playing to his full potential.
All right. So why don't we take a look at the Sunday games?
Sure, we can look at the Sunday games. Go.
Chargers, Patriots. That is the early game on Sunday. What players from this game do you like in terms of daily fantasy? Let's start quarterback. Do you like Brady or Rivers this week?
I like Rivers more than Brady.
Do you like either?
I like Rivers.
But I mean, are you going to play Rivers?
If I had both Saturday and Sunday teams to choose from, no. But if I had just Sunday teams to choose from, then yes.
Yeah, I think I'm staying away from him. I think I'm staying away from both. I don't think this is going to be a classic game. Like I think it'll be an ugly football game. I think we'll see a lot of runs. I think the Chargers will try and run the ball. I think the Patriots will absolutely try to run the ball. I just don't know. Does this type of game have a chance to be like a classic 40-37 type game? Do you think?
40 to
a big scoring game, like a slugfest where we're talking about Rivers, then Brady, then Rivers, then Brady.
No.
I really don't see it.
I don't see it
Cold
either.
weather, Foxborough just seems like it's going to be a really.
Was it in the 20s?
It's supposed to be in the 20s in terms of temperature.
Well, yeah, it's not gonna be one of those games in where it's like you score, they score, NFL blitz style. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be gruesome. It's gonna be violent. It's gonna be messy.
Yeah, it's a game I'm not really targeting, if I'm being completely honest.
I will, however, target some wide receivers against the Patriots because that secondary is the worst.
So, like Keenan Allen,
Yes, definitely looking at Keenan Allen. But that's about it.
you think he's due for a big game?
He had kind of a game yesterday.
Yeah,
So.
subpar for his standards, but it was always going to be a tough test against the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to be disappointed in him when you knew going in that it was going to be like his worst matchup.
Yeah, true.
But you like him to have a big bounce back, huh?
I would say at least 100 yards passing, 100 yards receiving, excuse me.
What about the other receivers on the Chargers? Mike Williams, Tyrell Williams, Travis
They were
Benjamin.
almost non-existent,
Right.
and I don't see them existing again.
You don't see them existing. So like a
They're gonna-
Infinity War type thing?
Oh, too soon, man.
I mean, it's been a while.
It's still too soon. I saw it this weekend again,
Really?
before I went to bed, and I saw that, and I was like, no. And then you see Winter Soldier just go down. And then you see Spider-Man sailing. I don't feel so good.
I wasn't all sad about Spider-Man like other people were. I still think Bohemian Rhapsody should not have won Best Picture.
Okay, are you still on that? Come on now.
I'm just saying.
Get over yourself. It doesn't matter.
I'm over it.
Besides, we're a sports podcast.
I just
we're
think
not
it was
a Golden
a bad
Globes podcast.
I think it was a bad call, much like I thought
We
the
are
Eagles-Bears game had a bad call.
Where it was an incompletion and a fumble all at the same time?
I saw when they said Bohemian Rhapsody, I was Al Michaels, and I said, "Are they just making this up as they go, or what?" Yeah.
Is this just fantasy caught in land? I love
Not
that
that
song.
it's not terrible. I'm just saying, like, I was surprised that a movie with mixed reactions won Best Picture.
Well, it can also look nice.
Yeah, but
Isn't
it's
Best
got to be the
Picture-
movie of the year.
Isn't Best Picture like it's not about
no,
the movie? It's about the look
the
of it?
movie of the year. It's the movie
Oh,
of the year.
I thought it mainly about the look.
No, they have other categories for that. But yeah, man, I thought for sure A Star Is Born was going to win, and then maybe The Favorite. If you haven't seen that, you should. State Theater has it. It's with Emma Stone. It's really good.
Emma Stone.
And Rachel Weisz.
Rachel, I have no idea who that is.
It's a good movie. It's
I
fun.
don't really follow movie and actresses.
It's
and actors
oddly
well.
a comedy.
Okay.
Like it's a drama. It's a dramedy, I guess you
Yeah.
could say.
I'm not a big on like following what actors do in their personal lives, like some people do. I can rant about that to be honest, but I won't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, continue.
Anyways, before we get all Grinch status over here, Chargers Patriots.
Chargers Patriots.
Let's go to the Patriots receivers.
Let's go to the
Do you
Patriots.
think Edelman will have a big
Do you
game?
think Edelman will have a big game? No. I honestly don't.
What about Gronk?
No, he's been non-existent this season. He's had a couple hundred yards this season, but honestly, he's a shadow of his former self.
A shadow
A shadow of his former self.
of
Yeah.
his
You ever heard that saying?
former self.
Yeah.
So sometimes we like to, I mean, not sometimes. A lot of times when you look at daily fantasy, you try and pick out the game that has the best chance of being high scoring because you want a lot of players in that game. Which one of the four you said that the Colts and Chiefs will be the highest scoring game? Is that right?
Yes.
What do you think the over-under is set at?
45?
Way more.
65.
Not that high. It's not a college football game.
55.
57. That's really high.
I was close.
What do you think the over-under for the Cowboys-Rams game will be?
Rams and Colts. Wait, Rams
And Cowboys. What do you think the
Rams-
over-under will be?
52.
It's 49. Close. Chargers-Patriots. Over-under is
49.
47.
Damn it.
Eagles-Saints.
46.
50.5. So Chargers-Patriots is the lowest over-under set. And I think that number might go down.
Okay.
Would you be shocked if that number goes down? 47 combined. I know it's
Yeah,
Rivers Brady.
I can see it going down.
I know it's Rivers Brady, but everything else just feels like low scoring to me. Like it just cold weather. Patriots want to run the ball and control the clock. I think the Chargers do too. I don't think the Chargers are going in there in a shootout mentality. I think it'll be a tight game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight and close, and yeah, I agree with you.
Which defense do you prefer between the Chargers and the Patriots?
You already have the numbers?
No. I'm just asking which defense do you prefer between the Chargers and Patriots?
Chargers.
Like in daily fantasy.
Definitely Chargers.
I kind of like the Patriots in that just because.
Really?
There's going to be more opportunity for balls in the air.
Okay.
I think the Patriots are really good at ball security, so it's like you want the defense that has the opportunity to get interceptions, touchdowns, things like that.
Okay.
I don't know. But at the same time, the Chargers defense, the Chargers special teams, man, that Desmond King guy, he's a threat to score a touchdown, so we could see a time
Isn't
where...
King a great last name?
Yeah, absolutely. We could see a situation where maybe there's a punt return touchdown in this game, which obviously will boost any defense or special teams. What about the Eagles and the Saints? That's going to be the last game of the weekend. Nick Foles or Breeze? Who do you like in that matchup?
Breeze, hands down.
Really? Do you think Foles is a bad play this week, or he's probably going to be the cheapest quarterback?
I wouldn't say he's the worst play. I would think he's a considerate play because Ryan Fitzpatrick, remember, threw for 400 yards against them, so anything's possible. But I will say Breeze is the best quarterback in the NFC by far, and you cannot pass him up.
Trubisky had a decent game against that defense, so I expect Drew Brees to kind of have his way, right? I mean, we're talking about a Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl quarterback, which is crazy. He probably won't win the MVP, but you're still talking about a guy who could. All right, let's go to wide receivers in this game, Jeff. Okay. We got Michael Thomas, Alshon Jeffrey are playing in this game. Will one of these two have a huge game? Will both of them have a huge game?
Jeffrey.
Really? What about Michael Thomas?
I like Michael Thomas, but Nick Foles, we know, loves Alshon Jeffrey.
He does. Jeffrey had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna get even more targets.
Do you think the Saints will do more damage in the passing game or the running game? Because Kamara and Ingram are really good. We know that they can catch the ball too, so that kind of puts a caveat into this whole thing. But
I think against this team, I think the fact remains that you got to beat him on the air rather than the ground.
I think we'll see Alvin Kamara have a big game. What do you think?
I agree.
He'll be a high-priced player this week, and it's always a risk because he doesn't get the ball as much as others.
I'll say he gets at least touchdown.
It feels like this is a game where they unleash him, right? I know in the regular season they like to have balance. They like to use Ingram. But it just feels like this is a game where it's going to be Kamara. Like you got
to ride Kamara, no doubt.
75 to 80% of the snaps, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Maybe we should take a short break.
Yes, we should. But first, let me tell you guys about Audible. Audible, listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, even brings us closer. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, and now Audible members get more than ever before. Each month they get 3 titles of their choice. 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and fitness programs they can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. Try free for 30 days by visiting audible.com/GSMCbook or by texting the code GSMCbook to 500-500. Remember, if you want this awesome deal from Audible, get free for 30 days, go to audible.com/GSMCbook or text the code GSMCbook to 500-500.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington Target Zero.
And welcome back to the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. I have a question for you.
Question away.
How much does weather influence you when you are making your lineups?
Minor, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
What is the one factor though? Is it rain? Is it wind? Is it cold? What do you look for that can
wind,
change?
Definitely wind. And if it's snowing. Snowing's a bigger factor to me than rain.
All right. So, let's see. I think there's really only one game I guess we can check that too. In Foxborough this weekend, we're looking at a high of 30 and a low of 18.
That's pretty low.
It doesn't look like it will be... Well, I take that back. It's a high of 30 and a low of 13, Jeff. There is a chance of snow, 50%.
50?
50%.
50?
Couldn't tell you what the wind is. Oh, wind is expected to be about 9 miles an hour. So 9 miles an hour with snow. Does that favor using the Patriots players over the Chargers players in daily fantasy? Because Chargers players don't usually play in weather like that, right?
Yeah, but...
Guys like Edelman, Brady, they play in this all the time. Like, it seems like most of their games are in cold.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I just think personally that this might be benefactoring towards more... I know it's benefactors towards New England, but I'm still giving the edge to Los Angeles Chargers just because of the fact I honestly feel like they're the better team.
What about Melvin Gordon? Because this seems like a game for running back, but do you think he's healthy? Because he didn't look healthy yesterday.
Yes, but hopefully he has the week to recover.
It's the same. His knee is, I don't know. He hasn't recovered, right? It seems like he came back really early he had an MCL injury. We can't forget. So, does that bother you at all, though? Like, are you going to pay? Because he's going to be a higher priced running back this week. Are you going to use him a lot, or is he a player that you might fade?
Honestly, I might fade on him.
It's hard to pick him if you don't think he's healthy, if you don't think he's fully healthy.
Exactly.
Sony Michel. Do you like him this week?
I do.
Is he your favorite Patriots running back in daily fantasy this week?
Yes, he is.
Over James White?
Over James White. And he's cheaper.
Is he?
Last time I checked, he was cheaper. By like $100, though. Last time I checked, White was at 48 and Michelle was at 47.
Wow.
That was the last time. It could obviously change as the day goes on. But.
Oh, I understand. That is... Yeah, James White, 4,900 on DraftKings. Sony Michel, 4,700.
All right, I was right about the 47.
Yeah, you're right.
But not by that much, but still it could be crucial.
So Ezekiel Elliott is 8,200. Todd Gurley's 8,000. But you know what? Melvin Gordon's only 6,200. So it looks like his injury might be built into his cost because he was higher last week. He was 7,700.
I'm not spending 62 on him. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Marlon Mack is 5,800.
That
seems
is
like a
cheap.
better play.
That's a steal, if anything.
All right. What about Alvin Kamara at 7,300? Do you feel more comfortable with him over Melvin Gordon?
Yes, I do.
Even though he's 1,100 more.
Yes, I do. Healthier and better.
Spencer Ware is only 4,500. Damian Williams is 5,100. Interesting difference in price, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. But I think it's just based on momentum. Maybe you can
Well, Ware is, dealing with a hamstring injury.
Mm-hmm, true.
So, I mean, he didn't play in Week 17, but he could have. It sounds like they had him inactive. So
I think it was
safe.
safe to say to keep him off.
Yeah, and he had a week bye, so he should be fully ready to go.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Better be safe than sorry, right?
What about Darren Sproles is only 4,400. That could be a decent play against a Saints
yeah,
team.
But how many snaps is he going to get?
Well, him or Smallwood, would you say? They both play about the same.
That is a tough question, for sure. But I might have to go with Sproles rather than Smallwood, but again, it depends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For quarterbacks, though, what we were talking about in terms of price, Phillip Rivers, 5,700. Tom Brady, 5,600. That's not too high. But guess what? Jared Goff is actually 5,500. And believe it or not, Dak Prescott is actually the cheapest option. Nick Foles is even more expensive this week. Are you surprised by that?
Not really. I think it's just based off the team around them as well.
Mahomes is 7,000. Andrew Luck is 6,200. But Drew Brees is in between them at 6,700.
Mm-hmm.
Rivers 56. So Rivers and Brady is pretty much a coin flip in terms of price.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, coin flip. I think that's where it's going
So
to go.
knowing what you know now, which quarterback do you think is the best option? Luck? Drew Brees? Patrick Mahomes?
I got to stick with who they're playing with on defense, and Andrew Luck might be the guy that breaks out better than the others.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that Kansas City secondary is not the best.
I could see
Good.
Brees having a big game, too.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I mean, Mahomes could, too, but I think it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think it's safe to say if you go with either Andrew Luck or Drew Brees, you're going to get a good performance.
Yeah, I think the safest play is Andrew Luck. I know that might sound weird on the road.
No, I agree
But
with
I think
you.
he's really safe.
But I think against Kansas City's defense is what I'm putting that solely on.
Yep. All right, who do you think is the most expensive wide receiver this weekend?
I gotta get Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas,
I
7,900.
don't think that's a question, is it?
Who's number 2?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, 7,400. Who's number 3?
Is it? Let's see. Trying to think here. T.Y. Hilton.
Yes, 6,700. Who's number 4?
Now this is where it gets difficult. Nelson Aguilar.
No, there's a lot of bigger names before that.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, I think, is number 8.
Oh, wow, that low. Is it more Kansas City Chiefs and more?
Amari Cooper is number 5. Or number 4.
Okay, I can see that.
Number 5 is Keenan. Number 6 is Julian Edelman.
Okay, I wouldn't put him that high. Honestly.
Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks can both be got for under 12,000 daily fantasy. That's pretty darn good.
I get why though.
Why is that?
I think it's mainly environment and defensive side and just how many others.
But, I mean, they're playing in good weather. The Cowboys secondary can be beat.
Well, I'm just saying there's a lot of other options they could go to as well. There's a lot of deadly stuff over there.
Like what? Deadly stuff. That sounded weird. There's a lot of deadly stuff over there.
The deadly offense.
Right.
You know who I'm talking about.
The Rams?
Yeah.
But, I mean, Robert Woods and Cooks are probably the 2 most likely players to score other than Gurley and have big games.
But
right?
if Gurley goes off, they're barely going to see the ball, is what I'm saying.
Well, they can all go off. They can all
I don't
go
think
off.
I don't think all three of them are going to. No, I don't see that happening.
Well, if they have 30 points scored, you can easily have a game where all 3 of them score 15-plus fantasy points. I mean,
Maybe.
obviously not every single one's going to have like a 30-point game, but you could have 1 or 2 have a 25-point game or more, and then another one getting 15. All right, so of these games, if you were to stack any of the games with the quarterback and 2 of the receivers, maybe a tight end, which team would you stack? It has to be the Rams, right? Because they're so cheap.
Yeah.
You can get Goff, Cooks, and Woods for under 17,000, which leads you to be able to spend money on some other guys. Yes, you're leaving Gurley out, or you could put Gurley and have a crazy stack, but you could still go get Ezekiel Elliott. You could go get Alvin Kamara. You can actually have a really good stack and a solid team around it with the Rams, just by looking at it.
Yeah, true.
All right, any one of these receivers that you're saying no to when it comes to Thomas, Hill, Hilton, Cooper, Keenan Allen? Which one are you just not paying for because you are skeptical he'll have a great game? Thomas, Hill, Hilton, Cooper.
Give me Cooper.
I say Hill, even though I'm a big fan of his.
I love Hooper. I love Hill too much.
But he's just too boomer bust.
Do you think is his foot still in a shoe?
No, I think he's good. He's not on the injury report.
Then I'm not worried about him.
Yeah, he also coming off a big game.
And Mahomes loves throwing him the football.
He does.
And he can get so open against this secondary he's going to play against.
Yeah, but the Colts have been good. Colts are sneaky, right? Of all the pass defenses in this game, the Colts are the number 5 ranked. They're the highest rated pass defense of all the teams left. So it could be interesting.
Oh, this whole week's gonna be interesting. We said this before, but
You know what we haven't talked about? We haven't talked about tight ends really much. Yeah, we kind of talked about Kelsey. What about Ertz, Ebron, Gronk? Those are your top 4.
Ebron's cheaper, and he gets touchdowns.
Ebron's 5,500. Ertz is 57.
And Kelsey's what, 7,000?
7.
Yeah, so Ebron.
Saints are the most expensive defense.
That makes sense. They're the number 1 rushing defense, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And it's not that cheap, was it? 3,000?
3,300.
3,300?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cheap.
Defenses, I don't like any one of these this week, you know? Maybe the Saints. Like, that's like the one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Rams. Could be sneaky. All right, anything else? I think we're done for today.
Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you so much for
Join
joining
us
us,
Friday
everybody.
where Jeff completes his task
55,
of 55 push-ups.
I know.
We pick our daily, or we pick our teams, and we talk about our daily fantasy.
60 push-ups. So the Super Bowl will be what, 70?
Well, the Super Bowl, we can do it. I don't know if you want to do it.
But it'll be
because
for
there's
70.
there's
We'll
only
make it
one
100.
game.
But we'll make it for
It's
100.
hard because there's only
I
one
know.
game.
How about NFC title game or conference championship games? 100
we at
push-ups.
least got
100 push-ups.
All right.
We'll do that. All right. We will see
Join
you
us Friday
on
as
Friday.
we continue this discussion.
Yes. Have a good week, everybody.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.